Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that may or may not be 5 minutes. Today in the news, Blizzard joins the ranks of many studios like Ubisoft who are beginning to use AI more and more. The Diablo developer has filed a patent for a system that will use AI to generate artwork based on any specific style by emulating it, making it easier for the developers, or so they say. According to GameRant, first, it uses an initial input to automatically generate a structured image. Then, it transfers the model taught to the machine to the image, generating the texture. Finally, they are combined with a moderate amount of detail. This would greatly save time and labor when devising sprawling virtual worlds. Now, to be clear, we don't know how yet exactly this new tech is going to perform, or if they're going to even really use it at all. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't not worry. What makes the technology controversial, however, is how systems that operate via machine learning often use other art in their training models. So Blizzard would need to use real-life artwork to train its model. At the moment, there's a huge debate on how much of this is actually legal if the material used in the training is copyrighted. So it's not unrealistic to expect more discussions surrounding this technology in the future, as it may diminish jobs and even have legal consequences. So the legality of this and the ethics of this are kind of all over the place, and I'll try to explain. First, if Blizzard is taking art from other, say, copyrighted sources, and then using that for the AI to learn, that could be copyright infringement if they don't own it. If they do own it, or they do create a library of art assets to draw from, basically then they'd be paying artists to create stuff that then the AI will just take and make more stuff from, thus putting the artist out of work, which is probably morally and ethically wrong. And let's not forget, this new Blizzard of the past 5 years is constantly looking to cut costs. They are known as one of the industry's lowest paying companies when it comes to game dev. And so the ability for them to just replace people with AI, I guarantee the executive board is like, Speaking of jobs and Activision Blizzard, Phil Spencer was on the Xcast over on Kind of Funny this morning, and he had a lot to say about everything that's been going on with Xbox as of late. Spencer started by sharing his thoughts on the UK's CMA's fear of Microsoft's potential impact on the cloud gaming market. They've defined a market of cloud gaming that, in my mind, doesn't really exist yet today, but they have a point of view that maybe we have a lead in a market that is just forming, and that this content could somehow prohibit others from competing in that market. Now pause, just to take a moment here to address someone in particular, Bobby Kotick. This is how you respond to a disappointment, like an adult. Meanwhile, Phil didn't really dive deep into this, but it's pretty safe to say that he's working behind the scenes to figure out a way to resolve all this with the CMA, and we'll see if that happens. He then eventually got to the blood-sucking elephant in the room, Redfall. There's nothing that's more difficult for me than disappointing the Xbox community, Spencer said. I've been part of it for a long time. I obviously work on Xbox. I'm head of the business. I have a lot of friends and get a lot of feedback, and just to kind of watch the community lose confidence, be disappointed, I'm disappointed. I'm upset with myself. We do mock reviews for every game that we launch, and this is double digits lower than where we thought we would be with this game through those. That's one of the disappointing things. We would never strive to launch a game that we thought was going to review in the low 60s. It's not part of our goals. And while Redfall was technically in development before Arcane and ZeniMax were acquired by Xbox, once that happens, the overseeing position, the responsibility to get it done right, kind of becomes Microsoft's problem now. Just like with Activision Blizzard, Bobby Kotick is gonna be Microsoft's problem. And, it's one of those things where once you buy it, once you take control, you can say, oh, we would never release it at 60% and we care too much and we want to do these things and we try to, but it's still your responsibility, right? The devs, the whole team, you're overseeing it. All those checks should have been in place, and all of the do we delay, do we not, is still your responsibility. And even if there's a scenario where Phil Spencer said, guys, I want you to have all the time in the world, and Arcane was like, no, we're good, we can release. Phil Spencer should have the foresight to, I'm gonna make the call here. You guys, you need another 3 months, 4 months, whatever, right? it seems to me that it's one of those, like, trying to have it both ways. Like, I am so sorry that it sucked, and I feel like I let you down. It is my responsibility, but maybe not. I guess what I'm saying is, if you can't oversee the production and delivery and quality of the games coming out of the over 23 studios already bought up by Xbox and Microsoft, how are you going to do the same thing for Activision Blizzard King? Buying them up and adding them in, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I guess from the business perspective, it isn't about creating high quality products. It's about pumping them out over and over and over again. It reminds me of when I think about, I once talked to a guy who ran TikTok accounts. He was like a big manager for TikToks. And he was like, look, it isn't about producing quality all the time. It's about producing constant content. And if you get one or two winners, people will only think about that and they'll ignore all the losses. And for some reason, I have that idea in my head when it comes to AAA games. If they just keep making games every year and keep making more and more and more, then potentially we'll just forget the crappy ones and be excited about the good ones. And I don't like that at all. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you so much. May the 4th be with you. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.